What are some of the secrets of the ultra wealthy? Stay with me. I'm a financial advisor. I'm also a certified financial planner and certified private wealth advisor. And part of my book of business is with high net worth or even ultra high net worth individuals. There are some things that the ultra wealthy people know that a lot of common ordinary people don't know. And I don't think ultra wealthy people are keeping these things hidden or a secret. It's just that people don't know what to ask them in order to get to a lot of the information that the ultra wealthy use to build and maintain their wealth. But I'm going to peel back the veil and show you some of their secrets right here. Wealthy people always play the long game. They don't really have short plays. The long game, as in decades. They know that it takes years to build true wealth and to do it the right way. That doesn't mean that they don't have quick wins. Maybe they use options or hedges or derivatives in their portfolio. Maybe they hold cryptocurrency, but they see that more as a one-time situation or on and off situation. That's not how they built their wealth. They built their wealth over decades, over long periods of time, with really good decisions that were made consistently. And a lot of people don't know this, but in America, the average age a person becomes a millionaire is 61. I know that YouTube and TikTok would have you believe that if you're not a millionaire by the time you're 20, there's something really wrong with you. But there are very few millionaires, less than 1% of people become millionaires in their 20s. And there is a very solid reason why. Becoming a millionaire or multimillionaire is very hard and it takes time. It takes time, practice, good decisions, and compounding interest. That can only come into play over decades. So the average age of person becomes a millionaire is in their 60s. If you're well ahead of a curve and you're really lucky, maybe in your 40s, but there's very few people in their 20s or 30s who actually have become millionaires. It's very rare indeed. The second thing, wealthy, ultra wealthy people focus on creating income so that they can have ownership. When these people are in the accumulation and building phase, they often have good professions, but they're not taking that income to build flash and cash while they are working. They're basically taking their income and they're turning it into ownership. They take a portion of their income, sometimes a large portion, and they go out and buy real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, investing in business. They see their 9 to 5 job as a vehicle to acquire ownership that can provide them passive revenue in the future. How do you view your job? Do you view your job as a 9 to 5 to make it through the day to pay the bills? Or do you see it as an opportunity to build ownership? If you want to become high net worth, ultra not high net worth, you have to see that job as a vehicle to build ownership in the future. Next thing, they know their way around taxes. They're pretty knowledgeable about the tax system and how to do their taxes, or they have really good tax advice. Now, really good tax advice, an accountant, a private accountant, has become really expensive over the past several years. Many accountants have retired, and the accountants have considerably raised their prices. So, in order to have your taxes done by a professional accountant, you're looking at thousands of dollars, sometimes even tens of thousands of dollars. But if you're paired with the right accountant who can really consult with you and give you expert advice, you learn how to maneuver the tax system to your advantage. Now, I am not an accountant, and I always tell my clients this. I know just enough about taxes to be dangerous, but I do know probably more than the average American about the tax code. And I've been able to save my clients tens of millions of dollars over the short term and the long term by just knowing simple facts about the tax code. Sometimes it's as simple as pushing the purchase of an item into the next year so that they can write it off on next year's taxes. Or I had a client who had an illness and needed a surgery, and she has some changes in her income. And if she could just have that surgery on January 1st of the next year, she could deduct the price of the surgery from her taxes. There's simple things like that that the average person who's not familiar with the tax code doesn't know, that as a high net worth, ultra high net worth individual, either you need to know yourself or have an accountant or a team of accountants who's looking out for those little small tweaks that you can save thousands of dollars on your taxes for you. Next, Typically, high net worth, ultra high net worth people, they do not have debt, but they do have leverage. So, most middle class and working class people, we know a lot about debts. We know about credit card debt, student loan debt, car debt, mortgages, etc. And those debts are designed in the US economy for a very specific purpose. One thing that those debts are not designed for necessarily is wealth building. Buying a car doesn't really make you wealthy. Credit card debt typically doesn't make you wealthy. Arguably, with the right major and with time, educational debt can make you wealthy. But typically, when people use debt in American society, they're creating an obligation for themselves. They're consuming something. Wealthy people don't see debt the same way. They see leverage. It means that I'm borrowing money and I understand I have an obligation to pay it back, but I'm borrowing money to buy an asset that will give me a greater rate of return than what I am paying in interest. If I am borrowing money at 3% to buy an asset that will yield 12%, that's a very good purchase indeed. But if I am buying a sweater on a credit card that I'll probably wear a handful of times before I discard it, that's a waste of money. Wealthy people, high net worth, ultra high net worth, rarely go into debt for consumer goods, but they will go into debt for good leverage opportunities where they see an opportunity to borrow at a lower interest rate and make a higher interest rate of return on their money. Rich people understand leverage. They protect themselves and they protect their downsides. So, high net worth, ultra high net worth people are big believers in insurances, proper business structures, and contracts. Even the best plans can go wrong. Every person who's wealthy will tell you of a time that they were sued or had to sue someone, or a contract fell through, or something happened with their insurance company. And they want to make absolutely certain that a minor mistake doesn't wipe them out. And when you're high net worth, ultra high net worth, you're a pretty big target, and people probably know that you are wealthy. So if you get in a situation where you are sued, they are likely to sue you big. So, a lot of high net worth, ultra high net worth people have financial advisors that work with them on everything from property and casualty insurance to getting contracts signed to business structure to protect them, to protect their family, and to protect their investment. So, it's not unjustly taken from them in the event of a lawsuit or in the event of a contract dispute. So they do protect their downsides. This is a huge one. It's a minor thing, but it's actually a very major thing. And I have seen it in every high net worth person I have ever known. They love information. They really love information, whether that information is from a book, a magazine, a newspaper, an audiobook, whether it's from a conference, even information just in meeting and talking to people and hearing what's going on around them. They are really good with collecting information, and they're often extremely good with connecting dots. They hear something from one person, they read something somewhere else, they see something on television, and boom, they have an idea, or they see a pattern, or they see an interesting investment opportunity. They can synthesize information in a way that I think a lot of people who are not very attuned to information cannot do. And I think they do this because they read a lot. It's really sad, but I feel in American society, literacy is almost becoming redundant for some people. I'm meeting people who basically are not functionally literate, or in some cases, completely illiterate. And it's really tragic because they're cutting off one of the biggest factors in wealth building success, which is being able to read and synthesize information. So if you want to be wealthy or think that you're going to be high net worth, ultra high net worth someday, read. This one is the biggest one. One thing I notice about high net worth, ultra high net worth people is they are always willing to bet on themselves. They have a very strong confidence in themselves. They have confidence in other people, but they will bet on themselves before they often bet on other people. And I've talked to a lot of people who have this trait, and they're very confident, they're very knowledgeable, and they often believe that they can do things better than if they hired someone or brought someone in to do it. Now, People who are high net worth, ultra high net worth often do know their limitations. They know they're not tax experts. They know they're not lawyers. They know they're not experts in certain areas. But if it's an area where they do have considerable knowledge or experience, they would rather bet on themselves than bet on a third party. And I've always thought that was great advice. And I always wanted to share that with middle class and working class family and my clients. I've always wanted to tell them that if you have an opportunity to bet on someone else, or if you have an opportunity to bet on yourself, always take the bet on yourself. So there you have it, 7 secrets of the high net worth, ultra high net worth crowd. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. And if you found this information useful, please share and subscribe.